episode 50, because it's bloody Milestone Madness. I better check that audio. Good.
Good. Great.
Great. It is Milestone Madness. Madness.
It's carpets. It's madness.
It's
It's carpets. It's madness. It's just madness. It's carpets.
It's carpets. What is that from?
That's from Absolutely Fabulous.
Oh, yeah. Patsy, darling.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Dom.
I was waiting for the Anik.
Anik, yeah, it's there. It's settling.
Happy 50th.
Happy 50th. You don't look a day over 35.
Oh, well, that's about right, actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit, I should have gone younger.
I'll take, no, I'm 36, but I will take 35.
Perfect. I love it. Happy 50th episode. I cannot believe it. Yay.
We're clapping ourselves.
Yeah, of course. Well, if we don't, who will?
And today's episode, we're calling it Milestone Madness or Milestone Madness. Yeah.
We just wanted to do something a little bit, we're proud of getting to 50 episodes. So we thought we'd just do something a little bit, different for you all. Early on, we did, episodes that were sort of more tailored to getting to know us as your storytellers a little bit. But, that was 50 episodes ago. So we thought, we've got new listeners. We've got people from Patreon. We have got the Boo Pod Network happening. We've just got so many things. So we just thought, you know what? Milestone Madness. We've got to 50 eps. Let's chat a little bit about some random stuff and then give each other a funny little story to tell.
Yeah, let's just be a bit mad, shall we?
Let's do it. So different to what we're normally like.
And any of you that have lasted 50 episodes, you need help, but good on you. We love you.
We do. We love you so much. Can I say, Dom, before we get into our housekeeping and talking a bit about what's going on, I had a moment on last Sunday, when doing this podcast actually became something that I, used one of our facts about and included that in a conversation. I was at a restaurant and we were at a table, a high table, and behind us was a booth. And I said, booth, not my cup of tea. Because if you get stuck right at the back, 10 people have to move out of your way if you want to get a drink or go to the bathroom or whatever. And my friend sitting across from me, Ash, she said, that's the same thing for me. Like, I'm not really claustrophobic, but like the thought of that makes me feel really uncomfortable. And I said, well, that's actually called cleithrophobia. And then I went on to explain. Everybody was so engaged. They were like, that's fascinating. Yeah, I've got that. It was really cool. So if you've had a moment like that where you've used any of our ridiculous facts or phobia insights, let us know, because it's so much fun.
I actually had an example of it today myself. A colleague was telling me how petrified, as in can't even go to this venue, the dentist, because they're so afraid. And I'm like, well, that's dentophobia, which is in one of our social games that we've been doing this week.
Yeah.
They had no idea that it was like a classified phobia. And I'm like, yeah, dentophobia. So, folks, if you're listening to us, you are actually learning things. And if you're a socially awkward person, when giving you material to help you in social, scenarios,
exactly,
retell one of the shitty stories that we
talk. That's right.
You'll be famous.
You can have it. We steal all our stuff anyway, so you guys just keep stealing. Photocopy the photocopy. Just keep on going.
That's
no
what
worries.
Art is.
Exactly.
No such thing as an original thought.
That's it. Precisely.
Okay, before we get too,
more madness,
let's get to housekeeping.
Yes, please.
Bring. Did you love my sound effect?
Oh my God, I loved it. And do you know what's wild? Chelsea, our, premier, probably #1 fan, she was driving in her car listening, and we were talking about that sound effect. And then you said, do you know what we need here? We need like a bring. And as we've said that, her petrol notification dinged in her car at that precise moment. And she texts me immediately. She's just like, the weirdest thing happened today. This is amazing. I love this sound effect. House keep me away.
Okay, so this week we have a BooPod feature. I'm really excited about this one because we met this podcast before any other podcast, Kate. This was our first ever networking, dip the toe in to networking world. Horror Roulette.
Yes.
You may remember this one, Kate, but they have the best bloody idea. So each week, and sometimes more than once a week, they come up with a word. So just like it's a random word, they don't have any control over it. And from that word, it's a brother-sister combination. Hilarious. They're so funny. Nick and Em. And what they do is whatever the word is just used, they've got to, or discovered, they have to go and find like a true crime story based off of that word. And they never know what the story is until they get to recording. So I forgot to breathe. Did you notice that?
I was getting a little bit concerned. You were turning blue like the cartoons. Violet's turning violet.
So anyway, go check out Nick and Em's podcast Horror Roulette. And here is their trailer.
Boop-biddy boop. So good. Oh, I love them both. It's such a cool idea and it's so funny. We're almost doing a sort of, we don't know the topic until today type thing as well. So we're, again, pinching from artists that are already doing incredible things. So that is so cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. We love them. They've been with us for a long, long time. I think we were in single digits even when we first started talking with them. And now we're at episode 50, Kate.
Oh my gosh. Are we at episode 50?
50.
Whoa. Speaking of the Boo Pods.
Yes.
I was just going to jump in because I spent my weekend. So my weekends are my podcast listening times usually when I'm cleaning my house and doing, walking around the streets and whatnot. And
just
you may
just
walking around just wandering the streets. Yeah, I don't actually have a home. What am I cleaning? Nothing. So we are doing, which you might be aware of, and if you're not aware of it, then this is a perfect time for you to become aware of it. It's October, folks. It's Spooktober. It's Oct Spooky. It's all of the Halloween special scary stories happening. And we have a groundbreaking series of stories that we are we're just so excited to be a part of. This is a number of podcasts coming together to tell an element of the same story. So about the same creepy place. It is called the Bridgewater Series. Mm-hmm. Now, when you are listening to this, it is a Friday, maybe we release on a Friday, maybe it's Saturday, whatever. There are already 3 episodes that you can listen to, and you get to go to different podcasts, have a listen to some people from our BooPod network, tell this incredible story. So we have had the Nightcap start us off. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the, #1 ep, and it's really great because the Nightcap gives you all of the information about Bridgewater, where it is, what it is, why it's spooky, a lot of amazing history and, sort of some of the reason behind why it would be a spooky place. It's an amazing first episode. You definitely listen to that one. So you've got a real great understanding of what's going on. Next, you get to listen to the Haunted UK podcast with episode #2. And that is about the hitchhiker on Route 44. Now, I sent a message through our socials to the Haunted UK podcast, and I said, you need to put a proviso in this because you scared the shit out of me. Like, I was at home cleaning my kitchen and I actually had to pause to listen to the story. I was so engaged. I was so creeped out. The sound effects included on it threw me. Like, it put me in another level of freaked out. So if you like being scared, the Haunted UK with episode 2 of the Bridgewater series is brilliant. Then we have for episode 3, the Skylark Bell is telling the next story, which is similar in the sense that we're still going to be chatting about the hitchhiker on Route 44, but it's a different, take on the story, and it's some different information and different examples. Have a listen. Go to those podcasts. If you're not sure where to listen, jump onto our socials. You can jump onto the socials of anyone in our Boo Pod. It's got a list, so it tells you who's doing episode 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. I believe are we doing episode 6?
Yeah, I believe so.
Awesome. So we'll be on in a few weeks' time, but it is such a cool series to get you through, October and all the spooky stories and stuff that are going on. Also, it's a really great way to support other podcasts. Jump on and have a listen, because you might actually, find a new podcast that you love listening to. It's an amazing initiative, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. So make sure that you have a listen to those eps, because I can't be more excited about it. It's so good, and I cannot wait for us to get to tell our story as well and be in it. Oh,
yeah, this is the first time we've ever done something like this. So go like, subscribe, comment, interact with all the podcasts and all the episodes, so we know how much you love it, so we can do more of them.
Exactly. It's been so much fun. I'm just so impressed with everybody. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yay! And last but not least, another friendly reminder, for a very small monthly fee, you can become one of our very own Shitting Bricks patrons. We have a Patreon. Just look up Shitting Bricks. You get access to bonus episodes. You get access to the episodes ahead of time. You are also going to get discounts on our merch and our upcoming tour, Kate, which I just started to do some digging and research and planning. Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited, which will be happening next year.
Yes.
So, yes, for a little bit of money, it goes a very, very long way for Kate and I. So please head on over to Patreon and look us up and become one of our patrons. Please.
Yay!
We love you.
All right. Can we put the brooms, the vacuum, and the disinfectant spray away? Housekeeping done?
Absolutely. Let's do it. And please tell us, Kate, what the fuck are we doing for Milestone Madness?
I thought you'd know.
Here we go. It's gonna be one of those episodes, folks.
I've got no idea. I just turned up. Okay, so today I want to share, and Dom, I would love if you'd join me in this. Let's talk a little bit about us and our relationship. So why have we gotten to this point where now you and I are all of a sudden 50 episodes in to this podcast? What, how long have we known each other? Where did this all come about?
The scariest story we've ever told.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're not aware, Dominic and I are cousins. Our mothers are sisters. That's how I believe it works in terms of genealogy. And we have always been very close. Both of our families have been very, very close for all of eternity. Our ages are also quite close. So, Dom, you're only, I think, 2 years older than me?
I'm 36 this year.
Yeah, and I'm 34 this year. Yeah. So we're saying 2 years. So there's not a huge age gap. So we had, a lot in common growing up in terms of, moving from being little kids into then teenagers. But we were always really fortunate to get to spend heaps of time together with our other siblings as well. Now, a few of the things that I remember, which I wrote down some notes in our little epi, is...
Welcome to Storytelling Time with Kate.
Story time. So one of them that I thought that I would start with is when Dominic first exposed me to something that frightened me.
Oh, even that word, exposed.
Yeah. Now, I was, I'm going to say I was single digits age-wise. Like I would have probably been maybe 7, 8-year-old. I don't know. But Dominic, introduced me to films. So, we're both cinephiles now. We love movies. We love talking about movies. We geek out on movies. And one of the first ones that Dom decided to show me as a young person was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is an amazing movie. If you've not seen, please do. It's like one of the first movies that had live action and animation with all of, the crazy characters, Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit, Porky Pig's in there, I think. It's just, it's Toon World. Bob Hoskins plays the lead detective guy. And then Christopher Lloyd plays the bad guy who doesn't want toons to exist. And there's one sequence, if you've seen the film, you will know what I'm talking about. And it's when Christopher Lloyd turns into, or we discover that he was a toon all the time, right? Is that correct? I haven't seen it in a while. But he kills the brother of Eddie, who's the detective played by Bob Hoskin. And at one point, he's turned around, so his back's to you. And then he goes, when I killed your brother, he talked just like that. And he turns around and his eyes pop out and he's got toon eyes and he looks terrifying. And I shat myself. It was petrifying. And it took me until last week to get over it. I could not with that movie. That whole sequence was too much. Oh, and then he gets crushed by a steamroller.
Yep. and then melts.
Melts, that's right. Yeah. So it's like it's totally fine for a 7-year-old, 8-year-old to observe that kind of content. But that definitely scared me. Thanks a lot.
We have a habit, well, I have a habit of traumatizing Kate as a child. I don't know why I took so much joy and pleasure in making you watch things you're not appropriately aged for, but whatever.
I think it developed my sense of, enjoying movies to a degree, though. When I certainly got older, I was like, yeah, I've seen that. Wow, I probably shouldn't have. I'm 15, but okay. This was amazing.
Just passing trauma on, Kate.
That's passing it on. Exactly. Now, another couple of notes that I made here that popped into mind when I think of our youth is we used to play a lot of video games. So Dominic was one of the, fortunate people to have a Nintendo 64 back when we were younger. And we would play different games. Dom, I think you're going to probably go into a couple of them, but one of the ones that jumps into my mind was a game called Perfect Dark. Amazing. So good. Unreal. So if you've played video games or if you're aware of that series, basically it's just a shooter game where you can set up a world and then you verse either each other or you can verse sims, so simulated people. Or NPCs, if you like. So we would, set ourselves up, and then you would need to choose how how active the other people you were versing in terms of the simulated characters, how well they were going to play against you. And the lowest, category for these people running around was the meat sims. So they basically would sort of run at you, shoot a couple of times, nowhere near you, turn around, smash into the wall, and just keep headbutting the wall and not going anywhere. So you'd just shoot them every time. So that was the meat sims. So meat sims was like burned into my retinas as that's the category.
We thought we were so epic, being like, let's put in 100 meat sims and see how good we could do.
Yeah. And we'd finish in like 5 minutes because we definitely should have picked harder characters.
Anything to make yourself feel good.
Oh, tell me about it. Speaking of making yourself feel good, you made the best mac and cheese that I have ever eaten. It could be the amount maybe of butter/cheese that went into it, but we would eat mac and cheese by the bucket load whenever we stayed. That was your specialty.
Yeah, and I still do it. I did it last night for Glyn and Rika. I'll have to admit it's in a much healthier place right now. It's practically all vegetable with a little bit of mac and cheese, but I do make a good mac and cheese.
You really do. That is absolutely your specialty. And the final thing that popped into my head was that you lived very close to a train line. And I was not au fait with the public transport system, but I do remember being, 11 or 12 and staying over at your place, and we could just, we would walk down your street, and the station was essentially at the end of the street, and we could hop on a train just a couple of stops and get off, and then we would go to Safeway, we would buy our mac and cheese, we'd get back on the train. And I remember that you were like, it's only a couple of stops. You don't need a ticket. And I was like, I'm a criminal the whole time that we would catch this train a couple of stops in the like late 90s, early 2000s. But you introduced me to a life of crime. You traumatized me and you fattened me up for my prison stay, I suppose. Those are some of my key memories, my core memories, if you will, from our time together as youths.
Well, when you're in prison all fattened up and traumatized and
Yeah.
from fare evasion, at least you know which prisoners to shank. You just go for the meat sims in prison. And
The meat sims. Yes, exactly right. I was so well trained.
Well, Kate, there are too many stories to tell.
I know. It was difficult. I literally just had to pick the first ones that popped into my mind. But we could be here all day, but it'd just be us entertaining us. We want to try to keep some listeners, maybe.
I know. I wonder if this will be like the worst performing episode.
Do you know what? I don't even care. I'm having the best time.
This is the downfall of shitting bricks. Oh, well, they made it to 50. Okay, well, not in any particular order, but one of my first memories of us, Kate, and probably youngest memories was when you and Chelsea specifically introduced me to Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller music video specifically. Had heard the song, but had never seen the, epically long, groundbreaking.
Basically like a short film. Like, it's incredible.
Exactly. And scary to boot, by the way.
Yeah.
But had never seen it. And you lived in Bairnsdale, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And I think we were even there to possibly watch it being launched or something. I don't know, but it was.
I feel like my memory, it was pretty much brand new. And I think I recall, this is how far back we're going, folks. My aunt and uncle, who lived not far from us, they had the Michael Jackson film, which included the Thriller video clip on VHS, so on videotape. And I think we borrowed it, but we hadn't seen it yet. And when you were there, we put it on to watch it. I feel like that's what we might have done.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool moment in history for our generation, because it was that groundbreaking, folks.
Absolutely.
But I remember watching it and I remember being petrified. I remember being very scared because, you hadn't, for those young people out there, we didn't grow up in a time of special effects. As far as things went was, animation and puppetry, which, they're great. They're golden. You can do a lot with it.
Still holds up. Yeah.
Absolutely. In many cases, I much prefer it, to be perfectly honest. But that's another film buff.
No, it's a whole other episode. I think we found our bonus episode for our patrons this week.
There you go. Dominic's hatred of the 127 hours guy and CGI.
Perfect.
Anyway, so Thriller video definitely stood out for me. Folks, if you don't realize, Kate, I, and cousins, Chelsea's sitting there going, don't you fucking forget me. We had potentially like an alarming habit of injuring not just ourselves but each other.
Correct.
There's too many stories to tell. Someone would push people off beds. Some people would smash hands with hammers. Some people would run over them with a bike. We did lots of shit to. Can I just
say, I'm taking my hat out of this ring because I was only ever witness to these. You and Chelsea had some sort of vendetta against each other because everything you just explained happened between the two of you. Many broken bones.
Kate, I mean, Chelsea, I love you. And I never had anything but love and admiration. I thought you were the coolest person in the world. But we injured each other quite a lot. But if anyone knows me as being, I think I'm very coordinated, but it's been mentioned a few times that I can be clumsy at times. And I think it started at birth because the next story was not one I recall personally, but your mother, my auntie, reminds me of it all the time. But supposedly we were in your house and I was jumping on one of those little like baby little shitty trampolines.
Yeah, like the little
Like,
exercise ones.
yeah, you had a cool little trampoline, and I was obsessed, and I was jumping on it inside the house, I believe. And somehow, instead of jumping up and down, Kate, I decided to jump sideways
Perfect.
and smash myself entirely through one of your windows.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm alive today, supposedly. But yeah, that was one of my injuries, prone injuries. We'll save some of the other ones for another time. Actually, no, I think I've got one more. No.
Yeah.
Do I?
There's one. There's another here I can see, which is that's a doozy. This one is a creepy, gross. Yeah.
Doozy. Oh my God. I can't remember which house this was.
I think it was in Belnaring because we had the tile. So folks, Dom's family house still exists and is the family's house. So that's been there since I was born, 1988, and that's been in the family for that long. Myself, for my family, we moved around a lot as kids. So we probably lived in 10 different houses. So yeah, it's hard to keep track. Usually we do it by injuries, Dominic injuries.
But I can picture this house really, really well, and I remember the floor, but I was stupidly running, and I believe it was in your kitchen or kitchenish area.
Yeah.
And I slipped and I landed head first on the tile and poked my front tooth through my bottom lip. Like it punctured through, folks. And I've still got the scar to prove it. But I remember that one very, very vividly.
I bet. Anyway,
there's so many other injury stories, but I don't want to get into it. And when Chelsea does come on as a guest, we will surely re-traumatize ourselves.
Yeah, we could do just an injuries episode. It'll go for ages.
Yeah, we're still alive. Everything's fine. Chelsea and I love each other. Another Bairnsdale story was when you and Chell introduced me to playing the game out on the pavement called Around the World. And I remember asking you both about this recently, and I still can't remember it, but it was a simple chalk game. You just drew on the pavement, and I don't know the rules. We won't go into it now, but Around the World was, I legitimately forced my parents to drive me over to your place just to play Around the World because I thought it was the greatest game ever made.
We need to bring it back. Christmas Day, we're playing Around the World.
Oh my God.
No negotiation. I'll bring chalk.
Okay, folks. We will, I don't know, maybe we'll do a social post on how to play Around the World. We'll definitely do a story or two about it. So
for sure.
Almost done. Dress-ups. Now, dress-ups were a thing for this family. I may be the reason why, because I think I forced everyone to play it probably a little bit harder than what they might want to.
You had some great dress-ups though.
But somehow we had a really cool chest of dress-ups. There were lots of dresses for me. I always had to wear a dress or a skirt. There were some Superman and other hero costumes, Kate.
That was me. I was always Superman.
And yeah, I had such fun memories of all the dress-ups that we used to play.
I'll never forget the blue Diamante dress.
Oh my God.
That was yours.
We will also share that photo. I'm proud of that dress.
That's a beautiful frock.
I can remember the smell. I'm sure it was a pretty yucky, musty, rank smell, but I can remember the smell of those dresses. Who knew drag from a very early age? That's
right.
But my favorite story, Kate, that you often tell, and I love to retell it, is in the same vein. We're going to start this whole storytelling section the way that we started.
Yeah.
You remember Roger Rabbit. I remember, and supposedly you do too, me making you watch Alien at a very early age, obviously inappropriate, probably for me and obviously for you. But it's turned into yours and I's probably ultimate, or one of our ultimate favorite movies of all times.
Yeah.
To the point where I even play it and don't even watch it. I just listen to the soundtrack because it's that fucking good and freaks me out. I think it's psycho level awesomeness.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's one of those series of films. So it's second only to The Godfather, part 1 and part 2. But Alien and Aliens, in terms of sequel, like Aliens is equally as good as Alien, if not a touch better, in my opinion. But like you were saying, when we're obsessed with having puppetry and, you know, special effects created in the shot, that movie still stands up. Like Alien and Aliens is still incredible with the sets that were built, no CGI, like everything was constructed. And the alien was, you know, a person in the suit, and it was incredible. And you gifted me, which if you're okay, I'll take a picture of it and put it on our socials, but you gifted me an incredible artwork when you did your show, which was a lot of pop culture influence. But the artwork that I have in one of my rooms is incredible, and I'll share it with everybody, and I love it. I treasure it. It's amazing.
So yeah, Kate, that's my little list of storytelling.
I love it. And again, we could go on forever, but you know, we were there, you guys weren't. We realized that, you know, some of this might not be as engaging. So we've split up our episode a little bit. We have done, you know, a little bit more about us, how we got to know each other, how we traumatized each other, how Chelsea injured you, but you're still alive. So, you know, we thought,
vice versa.
Yeah, correct.
You won't let me
Don't tell anyone. But Dom, can you please tell me, we decided to associate some stories / little bits and pieces that, you know, either of us found. And I have given you a series of little snippets. So, you know, I might have said in a couple of episodes, my new favorite thing is looking at newspapers from the 1800s and the 1900s, because they are cooked and they're so funny. Some of the things are so funny. So, Dom, what have I assigned for you to read to us today?
Folks, if you've made it this far in the episode, this is your reward.
Yeah.
For lasting so long. But Kate has cheekily assigned me a series of pet obituaries.
Yeah.
Obituaries. Is a hard word to say just on its own, Kate.
It is.
But not only do I need to read these obituaries, I have to do them in like a Southern Belle accent.
Yes, please. That would be fantastic. And as a proviso, these are entitled famous animal obituaries. So these animals are superstars. I want to hear all about them, and I need it in a Southern Belle accent. So please hit me with the first one.
Oh my God, this is going to be so hard because I'm just going to laugh the whole time.
We're going to see how this goes, folks. This could be absolutely shot, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm going to give them context before I read, just so we can make it through this.
Perfect.
Okay. I can't look at Kate. Okay, so the first one is from the 11th of October, 1911. Folks, we're going so far back in time. And this is from the Evening Dispatch in Birmingham, England. Okay, here we go.
I'm not going to be able to look at you. I'm going to have to, yeah.
I'm taking you out of my ear.
Okay, deal.
Woo! All right. Oh my God, I can't even start. All right. I practice this and everything.
This is going so well so far.
Beer drinking donkey. A chimney sweep's donkey, which has just died at Falls Hill, Warwickshire, at a considerable age, had a distinct partiality for beer. He was often given a half pint of ale in an ordinary measure. So greatly did the donkey relish it that it had a habit of expecting a drink whenever his journeys took him near public houses.
Oh, R.I.P. the beer drinking donkey. What a strong start.
No, that wasn't a strong start. I did it so much better before, but we've got more, folks.
Yeah, we do. We've got more. There's plenty of time to redeem.
Okay. The Concord Daily Tribune from Concord, obviously, North Carolina, 10th of October, 1912. Oh, God, this is a hard one too. Beautiful Jim Key, dead. Oh, God, I got to take you out. You ruined me. All right. Beautiful Jim Key, the celebrated educated horse owned and trained by the late Dr. William Key of Shelbyville, Tennessee, is dead.
It's Dan that gets me.
This horse was exhibited at the World's Fair at Chicago Centennial Exposition at Nashville and in every large city in the United States. This horse was one time sold by Dr. Key to a New Yorker for $10,000. Dr. Key later buying him back at the same price. The horse had been... The horse... Fucking hell. This next bit. Breathe, Dominic.
Oh, please hold on, folks. I promise that we'll get through it.
Oh, my God. Okay. The horse had been suffering for years with rheumatism. And when Dr. Key died about a year ago, he requested that the old horse not be exhibited anymore. Jim Key was 26 years old. He was buried on the Key farm at Shelbyville, and a monument will be erected in his memory.
Oh, R.I.P. Jim Key.
Oh, okay.
This next one's one of my faves.
The rheumatism for that.
I know. That got me too. I lost it at rheumatism.
Okay. Newcastle Herald, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, July 3rd, 1919. Pigeon War hero is dead. Cher Ami, who first carried news of the lost battalion, is war martyr. The carrier pigeon hero of the war, Cher Ami, is dead. In spite of the skill of the most expert bird authorities in America, this little feathered hero who first notified American headquarters of the plight of the lost battalion in charge of Major Charles S. Whittlesey died at the Pigeon Lofts at Potomac Park, Washington, D.C. Many American lads would have been proud to have performed so many heroic deeds for his flag. Since carrying the famous message, Cher Ami had been personally petted by General Pershing, and tradition of all time was shattered when the American general, in an official memorandum to the War Department, cited the little bird for the right to wear a Distinguished Service Cross.
I could just imagine this little pigeon with his big cross on his chest.
In its last flight through whittling shrapnel, Cher Ami was shot through the breast and the right leg was torn away. 2 months ago, a specially appointed pigeon expert was selected to bring the invalid message bearer home. A basket of rattan was lined with pads of cotton to ease the long ocean voyage. At Potomac Park, one of the screen porches of the Pigeon Hospital was set aside for exclusive use of Cher Ami. Pigeon Hospital.
There's so much in this.
All right, we're almost there, folks. The little patient grew weaker and weaker. Daily consultations were held to plan tempting food for the pigeon ace. Experts at the National Zoological Garden, the Smithsonian Institution, and the Army Pigeon Lofts at Camp Meigs each day eagerly offered suggestions. But all efforts were to prolong the life of Cher Ami were in vain, and now the remarkable bird is mourned on one who helped to win the World War.
Yes, Cher Ami.
Oh my God, I'm dropping it out of Roosevelt.
Do you know what though? There was so much in that I couldn't. How it had a little medal and they put it in a little special thing to help with its trip and then treated it at the hospital. I love Cher Ami.
Okay, this one is my absolute favorite without a fucking doubt. I want to do this one justice because it is the best.
Perfect.
The Peninsula Times Tribune Palo Alto, California, 18th of July, 1931. I had to burp. Okay. Wealthy cat dies. San Gabriel, the world's richest cat, Mitzi, is dead, leaving behind her an estate of $150,000 and a large house here willed her by her late mistress, Dr. Maud F. Kane. The cat, 18 years old, died from a very human disease of hardening of the arteries. On Mitzi's death, Miss Attilia Kushk, lifelong friend of Dr. Kane, inherited her estate. Like,
oh my God.
What the fuck?
How does a cat have 150K in a large house? And how does a cat create a will where Miss Ottilia gets that inherited? Like, the woman dies, but you got to wait until, the cat dies before you get the house.
Okay. The burning question is, was my southern-ish, I'm not even going to say belle because I don't think it was quite belle, but how is this?
I loved it. I really loved it. It's one of my favorite accents, and I think you did it justice with the ridiculous content you had to read. I think it was amazing.
Oh, fuck me. That was really hard.
Oh, it is. It's challenging. It is challenging.
To give credit to people that have to learn accents.
Definitely.
I love doing it. Like, I love the art of it. But anyway, that was one of my biggest
so hard. Oh my God, so good. All right, it's my turn. I can't let you suffer in solitude. Firstly, I'm going to proviso this with an apology because Dominic has asked me to do my poor, over-exaggerated Greek accent, which I base on Gus from my Big Fat Greek Wedding. No offense intended, very much taking this from a comedic sense. So please don't write into us. We know it's bad. We know it's on the nose. We get it. It's okay. We're just having a bit of fun.
It's so good.
I am going to
do it. You just
I'm going to, do with my accent. I am going to tell you all a traditional recipe for Spanakopita. So let's see how this bloody goes. Oh, okay. I've got to get into the very best traditional Greek Spanakopita recipe. Wow, that's not even Greek. I don't know what that is. I'm going with it. Leave it. I'm going to dip in and out of all sorts. We might go Irish. We might go Scottish. Who knows? Spanakopita, Greek for spinach pie, is one of the most popular Greek dishes that is known and loved around the world. A very versatile and delicious dish suitable for every time of the day as a main dish, that's Italian, starter or midday snack. I don't know what accent this is. I'm so sorry, everyone.
So good.
This is a very easy to follow Italian again for authentic Spanakopita recipe for you to recreate this traditional vegetarian delight from scratch. Spanakopita recipe. What is Spanakopita made of? To prepare the authentic Spanakopita recipe, feta cheese is... I'm just sticking with Italian because that seems to be what we're going with. Feta cheese is crumbled and mixed with the spinach in the herby spinach feta mixture. Then is wrapped in a layered phyllo pastry, brushed with a melted butter or olive oil. Mwah. And baked until a golden and crispy perfection. Simply delicious. In our spinach feta filling, we use the onions. We use the dill. We use the spring onions. We use the eggs. The eggs hold the mixture together and achieve the right texture for the Spanakopita filling. Spanakopita is a very popular dish in Greece and comes into a variety of shapes and sizes. It can be made in either a large pan, okay, I'm going more Greek now, and cut into individual portions. That's a pan-sized Spanakopita. Or rolled into an individual triangle savings. Spanakopita Kia. The main ingredients you'll need to make in this Spanakopita is, of course, the spinach. You don't have a spinach, forget about it. Most Spanakopita recipe also use a feta cheese. Is a favorite ingredient in all the types of dishes in Greece, be it fried or baked or used as stuffing, softened, melty, whatever. Here's a tip. A mature feta cheese gives a traditional Spanakopita recipe a bold, salty flavor. So be careful to just add a little salt in the seasoning. I sound like Guru from
I'm here for it.
Now make it your homemade filo. When in Greece, you make it a traditional Spanakopita. It requires using either homemade filo dough or a commercial village dough. Zaratako filo, that's not the word, but cool. It's a little bit thicker than usually a paper thin filo, gives them all the rustic touch. A village dough is a little bit difficult to find. You can make this traditional Spanakopita recipe is using either commercial filo dough, or if you are feeling adventurous, make your own homemade filo. Roll each sheet of dough with a passion for a good food that will truly reward you with the crispy, flaky, delicious crust on your traditional Greek spinach pie. So go ahead, give this super easy recipe, easy and delicious Spanakopita recipe a try, and amaze your friends with its crispy and tangy flavor. Enjoy. Now here's the recipe for you all. It has 6 steps. Step 1, prepare the Spanakopita. Making the filo first, or you can use a commercial filo. When you're done, heat the oven at 200 degrees, a fan 180 degrees gas to prepare the filling. 3, because you're going to be following this to actually make a stupid fucking podcast. Spend it in making the filling. Saute the onions with a large knob of butter until they're soft and they turn golden. Then you add the garlic, and you cook a couple minutes, and you add the spinach, and you cook to wilt it, and you cool it. You tip it in a bowl. Leave behind the excess fluid from the spinach. Then you got to put in the nutmeg, the feta, the eggs, the spring onion, and season. Not too much salt, remember? Number 4, for the Spanakopita recipe, you need a non-stick bake in a pan, 25 centimeter. Put a sheet of first piece of filo in a pan and sprinkle with the olive oil. Let the excess hang over the sides and keep it going with the rest of the sheets. Turn it a little before you add each additional pastry sheet. Now I'm French. Sprinkle with the olive oil. Use a 2 to 3 filo sheets, depending on how thick the filo is. Tip it and fill it in the Spanakopita and fold the excess pastry to cover. If you like, prepare a larger pan of a Spanakopita for a big crowd. Double the ingredients for the filling. Use a 25 about 35 centimeter baking dish. Add 2 to 3 filo sheets to the bottom to the top. Tip it a filling. Put a 2 to 3 more sheets. Number 5. Brush at the top of the Spanakopita the olive oil and scut it with a sharp knife. Bake it in the oven 60 minutes. Filo golden, filo crisp, filo done. Leave it to cool down. Cut it in a piece. Serve it with a Greek salad. Enjoy. I apologize to every person of any descent from Europe for that.
Okay, that has made my day. I can't tell you how much I needed that laugh. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Oh, my goodness. Dom, I think, have we indulged ourselves long enough?
I think we probably have.
We're going to let our listeners go. Thank you for joining us for our Milestone Madness. Don't forget to jump on our socials. Please tell us how poorly we did with our accents. I'd love that, although we already know.
It wasn't for you. This was
no, exactly. Now you get to join us next week for our we're going to be looking at doing our BooPod Network app. But we've
Yeah.
also got a couple of cool eps coming up as well, because it will be our 1 year anniversary. Not only is it our 50th episode, but it's soon to be our 1 year anniversary. So we're going to have some cool stuff for that. And it's just going to be a bloody riot. Thanks for being here and listening.
Yep. See you on the BooPod Network Bridgewater Series. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be recording live from Berlin, Kate. So
Berliner.
yeah.
Wow. We're going truly international.
Oh, we are. So I'm going to have to cook up a scary Berlin episode for folks too.
I love that. Listeners, thank you for joining us. This has been a lot of fun for Dom and I. I hope you've had just a little bit of fun too. We love you all so much. Thank you for supporting us. 50 episodes.
Woo! It's carpets. It's madness.
It's madness.
It's shooting bricks. It's madness.
Bricks. It's bloody madness.
Boy.
Love you. That was so much fun.